Morning student. Today we are going to start chapter number 6, ecological grouping of the plants. So in this chapter we will start the part first, that is introduction. So see here, the two components of nature organisms and environments are much complex, dynamic, interdependent, mutually receptive and interrelated. The term ecology was coined by combining two Greek words. Oikos means house or dwellings, place, and logos means study, to denote a relationship between the organisms and their environments. In physiology, adaptations is often used to describe an individual organism's phenotypic adjustments to its environments. Adaptation of all organisms to the environment is of great importance for the survival in the struggle for existence. Adaptation is structural, functional, and or behavioral changes for a better adjustments to its surroundings. Okay. Then next point, that is ecological adaptations and grouping of plants. Ecological adaptation of plants can be defined as the structural changes in plant body according to the type of habitats for survival within the environments. Living organisms interact with environment and undergoes a change in their morphology, anatomy, physiology, reproductive structures and behavior. Such changes which make plants capable to survive and flourish well as called adaptations. Plants are found growing all over the world under different conditions of availability of water. They grow on rocks where supply of water is doubtful. They can also grow on the banks of rivers and channels, or are found actually growing in waters. Plants growing in these and the habitats differ from place to place. In land, plants which grow under favorable water conditions develop some adaptations which are absent in plants growing under optimum moisture condition. This is due to the fact that the plant growing in each of the two habitats are fully adapted to live in those habitats. Okay, in few of water relation environment differs from place to place, and so do the plants. Depending upon the amount of water, there are different ecological groups of plants. Warming in 1909 classified and grouped plant communities on the basis of relationship between plants and their water requirements. On the basis of this, they grouped the plants into hydrophytes, xerophytes, mesophytes, epiphytes and halophytes. Then first we see, that is what is hydrophyte. Hydrophytic plants which grow in wet places or in water called as hydrophytes. These hydrophytic plants are also called in aquatic habitats. The term hydrophyte are combination of two Greek words. Hydro means water and phyton means plants. Plants which grow in water or in soil saturated with water are called as hydrophytes or aquatic plants. Example: Utricularia, Phallisneria, Hydrilla, Cara, Nitella, Lotus, Ceratophyllum, Trapha, Pistia, Eucornia, Lemna, etc. Then we must know that types of hydrophytes. See here, according to the way in which they grow in water, they are further subdivided into the following three categories. Number one, that is free floating hydrophytes. See here, these are not attached to the soil, they float freely on the surface of water. They grow in large number in pond and pools. The aggregation of such plant make the water surface completely invisible. Some hydrophytes have large leaves, example Eichhornia, Trapha, then Pistia lemna ulfia, Azolla, etc. Then next type in hydrophytes, that is rooted hydrophytes with floating leaves. These plants have their roots fixed in mud, but leaves have long petioles which keep them floating on the water surface. They grow normally in shallow water regions. These includes Nymphia, Nelumbo and Marsillia. Then third type, that is submerged rooted hydrophytes. They are rooted hydrophytes. They are completely submerged in waters. They are restricted to shallow region where the plants can get adequate supply of light. Example Hydrilla vallisneria potamogeton. Then next type, that is ecological adaptations in hydrophytes. After types of hydrophytes, there is the next point, that is ecological adaptations in hydrophytes. Though hydrophytes are different from each other in some aspects, most of the characters, that is morphological as well as anatomical, is common to all of them. Then there is first type in this, that is rooted hydrophytes. We must see their external adaptations and internal adaptations. So first we see external adaptations in roots. As the plants are growing in water, the roots are of secondary importance and are less significant. Hence, roots may be entirely absent, as in Ulfia, Salvinia and Ceratophyllum, or in poorly developed, as in Hydrilla. Then root hairs may be absent, example lemna, or they are only pre-developed. The root caps are absent in some plants. Root caps are replaced by root pockets, example that is Eichhornia and Pistia. Roots, if present, they are generally fibrous, adventitious, reduced in length, unbranched or poorly branched. In lemna, the stem, small unbranched roots hang down into water and acts as balancing organs. In some plants like example that is floating aerial roots also developed in addition to the normal adventitious roots. Then internal adaptations in roots. According to the adaptations, is found mainly at the reduction in protecting the structure, mechanical tissues and vascular tissues. They are as follows. Cuticle is thin and poorly developed or totally absent. Second, that is epidermis is usually single layered. Third, that is cortex is well developed, thin walled and parenchymatous. Major portion is occupied by well developed prominent air cavities in arenchyma. The tissue offers resistance to bending traces, increases buoyancy and allows a rapid gaseous exchange. Next, fourth, that is vascular tissue is poorly developed. Xylem elements are few, while phloem may be poorly developed. In ranunculus and typha, vascular elements are comparatively much distinct and well developed. Then fifth, that is mechanical tissues are generally absent except in some emergent forms, example typha, where pith cells are sclerenchymatous. Okay. After root, there is the next point, that is stem of hydrophytes. They are also showing external adaptations in hydrophyte stem as well as internal adaptations in hydrophyte stem. So first we see external adaptations in hydrophyte stems. First adaptation, that is the submerged hydrophytes Hydrilla potamogeton, long, slender, weak, spongy and flexible stem. So they can sway to and fro in the water current and easily bend without breaking. Second character, that is adaptation, that is free floating hydrophytes have slender stem that can float horizontally on the surface of water Example, Eucornia has short stoloniferous stem which is thick, spongy and extensively parenchymatous. And third adaptation, that is in Nymphea and Nilombo, the stem is slender, rhizome rooted in mud. Okay. Then we must see internal adaptations in stem. First adaptation, cuticle is either absent or thin and poorly developed. Second adaptation, epidermis is usually single layered and is made up of thin walled parenchymatous tissue. However, rhizomes of Nymphea and Nilombo show well developed epidermis. In emerged forms like Typha, cuticle as well as epidermis is generally well developed. Third, that is hypodermis is completely absent in submerged forms like Hydrilla and Potamogeton. In floating and emergent forms, it may present in as thin-walled parenchyma or collenchyma. Fourth adaptation, that is cortex, is well developed. It is photosynthetic and of thin-walled parenchymatous cells. In Nymphea, many scattered vascular bundles are found in the cortex. Then third point, that is lip of hydrophytes. In lip of hydrophytes, first we see external adaptations in hydrophyte leaves, and then after that internal adaptations in hydrophyte leaves. First we see external adaptations in hydrophyte leaves. Number one, that is in submerged forms, leaves are long and ribbon shaped as in Vallisneria, linear and long as in Potamogeton, or finely dissected as in Ceratophyllum. Number two, floating leaves are simple, large and flat as in Nymphea and Nilombo, with their upper surface coated with water. They have long flexible petioles covered with mucilage. Number three, emergent forms as Ranunculus and Sagittarius show heterophyry, submerged, floating and aerial leaves. Then after that we must see internal adaptations in leaves. Internally, structure of leaves shows variations in different hydrophytes. However, some anatomical features are common to all. These are as follows. First character, cuticle is usually absent in submerged forms like Potamogeton. In floating forms like Nymphea, it is poorly developed and restricted only towards upper surface. Okay. Then third, epidermis is single layered and is made up of thin walled cells containing abundant chloroplast. Number three, stomata are completely absent in submerged plants. They are present in floating and emergent forms. In floating plants, stomata are confined only to the upper surface, whereas in emergent forms they are generally found on both surface of leaves. Okay. Then next, that is in submerged plants like Potamogeton and Anacharis mesophils is not differentiated. In floating and emergent forms, it is differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma with well-developed air cavities. Vascular elements are reduced in submerged forms. In floating plants as Nymphea, xylem elements are thin-walled and phloem is well-developed. In aerial leaves, xylem and phloem are well differentiated, and last, that is mechanical tissues are absent. Okay, thank you.